Today I'm going to read you the story of Monica, which is titled like this. I invited my parents to a little housewarming party, but they dined with my sister and her family instead. Your apartment is terrible. I was alone, but my grandma walked in and gave me an amazing gift. When I posted its photo, my phone buzzed with calls. Well, let's go. Hey everyone, I need to get this off my chest. My name's Monica, I'm 31, and I just went through something that's got me questioning everything about my family. Let me start from the beginning. I work as a middle manager at this trading company, nothing fancy, but it pays the bills. For 8 whole years, I've been saving every penny I could for my own place. I had this dream of finally having my own space, my own kitchen, my own everything. So there I was, still renting and saving, when my friend Jessica calls me up. She's a realtor, been in the business for like 10 years. Monica, she says, I've got something you need to hear about. There's this apartment, and the owners are desperate to sell. They're moving to Texas next month and need it gone ASAP. I'm thinking, okay, what's the catch? There's always a catch. It's way below market price, Jessica continues. Like, seriously below. But it needs work. A lot of work. Now, here's the thing about me, I'm not afraid of getting my hands dirty. My dad taught me how to use tools when I was a kid, and I actually love doing stuff myself. Painting, fixing things, whatever. It's relaxing for me. How much work are we talking? I ask. Pretty much everything. Kitchen cabinets are old, bathroom needs updating, walls need paint, floors need refinishing. But Monica, the bones are good. Really good. She sends me pictures and the price. Holy crap, it was like half what other places in that area were going for. Yeah, it looked rough, but I could see the potential. Good layout, decent size, nice windows. I want to see it, I tell her. We meet there the next day. The place was a mess, I'm not gonna lie. The previous owners clearly hadn't touched anything in decades. But it had character, and more importantly, it had space. Real space. Not like the shoebox I was renting. What do you think? Jessica asks. I'm walking around, checking out the rooms, imagining how it could look. I think I'm crazy, but I want it. The whole mortgage process was a nightmare, but I got through it. I kept the whole thing secret from my family, my parents, my older sister Rebecca, and her husband Mark. I wanted it to be a surprise. Rebecca's always been the golden child. She's 34, married Mark 5 years ago in this huge wedding that my parents basically paid for. They're always at my parents' house for Sunday dinner, playing the perfect couple. Me? I show up when I can, but work keeps me busy. My parents, Tom and Linda, they're good people, but they've always treated Rebecca like she could do no wrong. She got help with her wedding, help with her down payment on their house, help with everything. I've been on my own since college. But I didn't care, I was finally going to have my own place. The day I closed on the apartment, I was so excited I could barely sleep. I had keys to my own home. I spent that whole weekend just sitting in the empty rooms, planning what I'd do first. I decided to wait until the next Saturday to tell everyone. Rebecca and Mark always go to my parents for dinner on Saturdays, it's like their weekly tradition. Perfect timing for my big announcement. Saturday comes, and I'm practically bouncing as I drive to my parents' house. I've got pictures on my phone, I've got all the details ready. I'm thinking about how proud they're going to be, how excited they'll get about helping me plan the renovations. I walk in right as they're finishing up the main course. Mom made her famous pot roast, the smell hit me as soon as I opened the door. Monica, Mom says, getting up to hug me. You're just in time for dessert. We're eating dessert, Mom's apple pie, when I can't hold it in anymore. My heart's pounding, and I'm grinning like an idiot. So, I say, putting down my fork, I have something to tell you guys. Everyone looks at me, the table goes quiet. I bought an apartment. You could hear a pin drop, they're all just staring at me like I grew a second head. Mom's the first to react. She throws her hands up in the air. Monica. Why didn't you tell us? Why didn't you warn us about this? I wanted to surprise you all, I say, still smiling. I wanted it to be a big reveal. I pull out my phone and start scrolling to the pictures. Look, here it is. It needs work, but it's got so much potential. I hand the phone to Rebecca first, because she's sitting closest. She looks at the screen and starts laughing. Not happy laughing, mean laughing. Oh my God, she says, showing the phone to Mark. I'm once again convinced that you have absolutely no taste whatsoever. You bought this nonsense? My smile starts to fade. What do you mean? Mom takes the phone and looks at the picture. She shakes her head. Monica, honey, you should have taken Rebecca with you to look at apartments. She has an eye for these things. Well. The apartment's terrible, Dad chimes in, looking over Mom's shoulder at the phone. Mark laughs and hands the phone back to me. Well, it's very suitable for you, Monica. I feel like someone just punched me in the stomach. This isn't how this was supposed to go. They were supposed to be happy for me, proud of me. Instead, they're basically telling me I'm an idiot who bought a dump. I can feel tears starting to build up behind my eyes, but I refuse to cry in front of them. I sit there for maybe 5 more minutes, not saying anything, just listening to them talk about other stuff like nothing happened. Finally, I stand up. I should get going. Already? Mom asks, but she doesn't sound like she really cares. Yeah, I've got stuff to do at home. Nobody tries to stop me. I drove home in complete silence. No radio, no music, nothing. When I got to my new apartment, I sat in the parking lot for a few minutes, staring up at the building. I finally got out of the car and walked up to my door. As soon as I got inside and closed the door behind me, I lost it. I mean, completely lost it. I slid down the door and sat on the floor crying like a little kid. All those years of saving, all that excitement, all those dreams about finally having my own place, and my own family just crushed it in like 2 minutes. No taste. Terrible apartment. Very suitable for you, Monica. Mark's words kept playing over and over in my head. I must have cried for an hour. Then I got mad, really mad. You know what? The hell with them. This was my apartment, bought with my money that I saved for 8 years. They didn't put in a single penny, they didn't help me search, they didn't do anything. And they had the nerve to trash my choice? I looked around at my empty apartment with fresh eyes. Yeah, it needed work, a lot of work. But it was solid, it was mine. And I was going to make it amazing. That's exactly what I did. Every day after work, every weekend, I was there fixing things up. I painted walls, updated the bathroom, worked on the kitchen, refinished the floors. It was exhausting work, but I loved every minute of it. This place was becoming exactly what I'd dreamed of. The whole month went by like that. I didn't call my family, they didn't call me. Fine by me, I was too busy anyway. By the end of the month, the place looked incredible. I'm not even being modest about it, it looked really, really good. Modern, clean, stylish. Everything I'd hoped for and more. I stood in my living room one evening after finishing the last touch-ups and thought, you know what? It's time for a housewarming party. Part of me, a big part, wanted to prove to my family that they were wrong about my apartment. That it wasn't terrible, that I did have taste, that I'd made something beautiful. Yeah, I know that's probably not the healthiest motivation, but I'm being honest here. I was still hurt by what they'd done, but they were my family. And this was a big milestone for me. So I decided to invite them. I sent texts to Mom and Rebecca. Hey, I'm having a housewarming party this Saturday at 5 p.m. Hope you can make it. Can't wait to show you what I've done with the place. I included my address. 2 hours later I finally got responses. Mom texted back, "We'll be there." Rebecca's message was almost identical, "Sure, we'll come." That was it, no excitement, no questions about what to bring, no "congratulations on your new place." Just flat acceptance. But whatever, they said they'd come, and that was something. I also called my grandmother, my dad's mom, Grandma Rose. She's 78 and lives about 20 minutes away. We've always been close. When I was little, I used to spend weekends at her house, and she'd teach me how to bake cookies and tend her garden. Grandma, it's Monica, I have some news. I bought an apartment. You did? Oh honey, that's wonderful, tell me everything. I spent like 30 minutes on the phone with her, describing the place, talking about all the work I'd done. She was so excited, asking all the right questions, telling me how proud she was. I'm having a housewarming party this Saturday at 5. Can you come? I would love to come. But I might be a little late, I have some errands to run that afternoon. Is 7 okay? 7 is perfect, Grandma. That phone call made me feel better than I had in weeks. The rest of the week I spent getting ready for the party. I ordered food from this Italian place, all my family's favorites. Mom loves their chicken parmesan, Dad always gets the lasagna, Rebecca is obsessed with their Caesar salad. I got wine, I got dessert, I even bought flowers for the dining table. I cleaned the apartment until it sparkled. I wanted everything to be perfect. I wanted them to walk in and immediately realize they'd been wrong about my place. Saturday came and I was nervous but excited. I had everything ready by 4:30. The food was warming in the oven, the wine was chilled, the apartment looked amazing. I kept checking my phone, checking the time, looking out the window. 5 o'clock came and went, no one showed up. By 5:30, I was starting to get worried. Maybe they got the address wrong? Maybe there was traffic? I checked my phone again, no messages. 6 o'clock, still nothing. I started calling them. First Mom, then Dad, then Rebecca, then Mark. Every single call went straight to voicemail. Not even ringing, like their phones were turned off. By 6:30, I was getting really anxious. Where were they? They said they'd be here. They promised. Then at exactly 7 p.m., my phone buzzed with a text from Mom. Hi Monica, we're having dinner with Rebecca, Mark, and his parents at Chez Laurent right now. It's much more pleasant than being in your terrible apartment. Hope you understand. I stared at that message for like 5 minutes, reading it over and over. Chez Laurent was this super expensive French restaurant downtown. The kind of place Rebecca always wanted to go to but could never afford. Before I could even process what I was feeling, another message came in. This time from Rebecca. It was a photo of all of them, Mom, Dad, Rebecca, Mark, and Mark's parents, sitting around this fancy table, all dressed up, all smiling and raising their wine glasses like they were celebrating something. The caption said, "Family dinner, so much better than expected." I felt like someone had punched me in the stomach and then set me on fire. I couldn't take it anymore. I just started crying. Not the angry crying from a month ago, but this deep, hurt crying that felt like it was coming from somewhere I didn't even know existed. I was done, I was completely done with them. I would never again wait for their approval, never again try to make them proud of me, never again let them hurt me like this. I went to the kitchen and started eating the chicken parmesan I'd ordered for Mom. It was cold by now, but I didn't care. I was going to eat this food I'd bought for people who couldn't even be bothered to show up. About 30 minutes later, there was a knock at my door. I'd completely forgotten that Grandma Rose was supposed to come at 7. I quickly wiped my eyes and went to answer it. Grandma, I said, trying to sound normal. Monica, sweetheart. She was holding a beautiful wrapped gift and smiling so big. I'm so sorry I'm late, traffic was terrible. She handed me the gift. This is for you, honey, for your new home. I unwrapped it and inside was this gorgeous crystal vase. It was heavy and elegant and must have cost a fortune. Grandma, this is beautiful, thank you so much. She looked at me more closely. Monica, have you been crying? Your eyes are all red. So I told her everything. About the texts, about them promising to come, about the restaurant photo, about how they'd basically ditched my housewarming party to go have dinner somewhere more pleasant than my terrible apartment. By the time I finished talking, Grandma's face was red with anger. I'd never seen her so mad. She grabbed her phone out of her purse like she was going to call someone. "I'm calling your father right now and telling him exactly what I think of this behavior." But then she stopped and put the phone back down. "Actually, no, I have a better idea." She looked at me with this expression I'd never seen before, like she was planning something. "I know exactly how to make them regret doing this to you, Monica." "What kind of idea?" I asked, wiping my eyes with the back of my hand. Grandma sat down on my couch and patted the spot next to her. "Come sit with me, honey, there's something I need to tell you." I sat down, still holding the beautiful vase she'd given me. "Monica, that vase isn't the only gift I have for you tonight. I've been watching you for years, sweetheart. And I've seen how hard you work for everything you have. How you save every penny, how you do everything yourself, how you never ask for help from anyone." She reached into her purse and pulled out a manila folder. "Your sister, on the other hand, has had everything handed to her. Your parents paid for her entire wedding, $30,000. Then they gave her and Mark $15,000 for their down payment on their house. Everything comes easy for Rebecca." She handed me the folder. "Open it." My hands were shaking as I opened the folder. Inside were official-looking documents with a lot of legal language I didn't understand at first. Then I saw the address at the top and my heart stopped. It was the address of Grandma's country house. The one by the lake where I used to spend summers when I was little. The one I hadn't been to in years because work kept me so busy. "Grandma, what is this?" "It's yours now, Monica. I transferred the deed to your name last week. The house by the lake belongs to you. It's worth about $400,000. It's in the perfect location, right on the water, and it's completely paid off." I started crying again, but this time they were good tears. She settled back into the couch. "I was going to announce this gift tonight at your housewarming party. In front of your whole family. And then I was going to give Rebecca $250,000 in cash as her gift, to balance things out. A house for you, money for her. But they didn't show up to your party, did they? They humiliated you instead. They chose to go eat at some fancy restaurant rather than celebrate your accomplishment. So guess what? Rebecca gets nothing." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "Grandma, are you serious?" "Dead serious, and that's not all." She reached into her purse again and pulled out her checkbook. Right there on my couch, she wrote out a check and handed it to me. I looked at it and almost fainted. It was made out to me for $250,000. "This money will be enough to pay off most of your mortgage, Monica. Your monthly payments will be tiny after this." I was crying so hard I could barely speak. "Grandma, why are you doing this?" "Because you deserve it, because you've shown me who you really are. Because your family treated you terribly tonight and I won't stand for it." She stood up and smoothed her skirt. "Now, I want you to take a picture of us together, with me holding those house documents. And then I want you to post it on social media." I was confused. "Why?" Grandma smiled, and it wasn't her usual sweet grandma smile. It was more like a shark smile. "Because your family is about to learn that actions have consequences." So I took the picture. Grandma held up the house documents while we both smiled at the camera. I posted it on Instagram and Facebook with the caption, "My amazing grandmother just gave me the most incredible gift, her beautiful country house by the lake. I'm so blessed and grateful." Within minutes, the likes and comments started pouring in. My friends from work, college friends, neighbors, everyone was congratulating me and saying how lucky I was. "Perfect," Grandma said, looking at my phone. "Now we wait." She stayed for another hour, and we talked about the house, about my apartment, about everything except my family. When it was time for her to go, I called her a taxi. After she left, I sat in my apartment looking at the house documents and the check. I felt like I was dreaming. A few hours ago I was crying over cold chicken parmesan, feeling like the biggest loser in the world. Now I owned a $400,000 house and had enough money to almost pay off my mortgage. I went to bed that night feeling something I hadn't felt in a long time, genuinely happy. The next morning I woke up to my phone ringing. And ringing, and ringing. It was 8 a.m. on a Sunday, and someone was calling me over and over. I looked at my phone and saw 17 missed calls, 17. From Mom, Dad, Rebecca, and Mark. Then I remembered the Instagram post. I smiled and turned my phone to silent. I wasn't ready to deal with them yet. But the calls kept coming. Every few minutes, another call. Then the text messages started. They were getting more and more frantic. Mom, Monica, I don't know what you told Grandma Rose, but you need to fix this right now. Rebecca, you're such a selfish bastard. That house should go to someone with a family. Dad, your grandmother has clearly lost her mind. We're coming over to talk sense into you. Rebecca, you probably manipulated an old woman into giving you her house. You should be ashamed. I took screenshots of every single message. Especially the ones where Rebecca called me names and where they basically said Grandma was senile. The messages got worse throughout the day. They called me manipulative, said I didn't deserve the house, said Grandma was too old to make good decisions. Rebecca even said I was taking advantage of an elderly woman. I didn't respond to any of it, I just saved every screenshot and waited. Around 4 p.m., there was pounding on my door. I looked through the peephole and saw Mom and Rebecca standing there, looking angry. They started knocking harder. Monica. We know you're in there, open this door. I spoke through the door without opening it. Sorry, you're late for my housewarming party. And besides, I thought this apartment was too terrible for you. Rebecca's voice was shrill, you don't need that house. You don't even have a family. I'm pregnant, Monica. I need that house for my baby. I laughed out loud, congratulations on the pregnancy, Rebecca. Still not giving you my house. Then we don't consider you family anymore, Mom said through the door. I laughed even harder, that's your problem, not mine. I went into my bedroom, turned the TV up loud, and ignored them banging on my door. After about 10 minutes, they gave up and left. A few days later, Grandma called me. Monica, honey, I'm having a little family meeting at my house tomorrow evening. Can you come by around 6? I could hear the steel in her voice. I'll be there, Grandma. I arrived at Grandma's house the next evening at exactly 6 o'clock. I could see through the front window that my parents, Rebecca, and Mark were already there, sitting in the living room looking uncomfortable. As soon as I walked into the living room, Rebecca jumped up from her chair. Grandma, she manipulated you, she made you give her that house. Sit down, Rebecca, Grandma said firmly, I called this meeting, so I'll do the talking. Rebecca sat down, but she was glaring at me like I'd personally ruined her life. Grandma stood in front of all of us. I gathered you all here because I have an announcement to make. She looked directly at my parents and Rebecca. Your behavior at Monica's housewarming party was disgusting, absolutely disgusting. Now wait a minute, Dad started to say. No, Tom, you wait, you promised your daughter you'd be there to celebrate her accomplishment. Instead, you went to some fancy restaurant and sent her pictures of how much fun you were having without her. Mom tried to defend herself, we didn't think. You didn't think, Linda, that's exactly right. You didn't think about how cruel that was. Grandma smiled, as I was telling Monica, I originally planned to announce her house gift at the housewarming party. And then I was going to give Rebecca here a check for $250,000. Rebecca's eyes got huge, you were going to give me what? $250,000. But since you couldn't be bothered to show up and support your sister, you get nothing. This is insane, Rebecca stood up and started crying. I'm having a baby, it's not fair that she gets everything. Life isn't fair, Rebecca, Grandma said calmly. But it's especially unfair when you treat people badly and expect to be rewarded for it. Mom and Dad were just sitting there with their mouths open. You can't do this, Mom finally said. Rebecca is pregnant, she needs help more than Monica does. Really? Grandma asked. Did Rebecca save money for 8 years like Monica did? Did Rebecca work nights and weekends renovating her place with her own hands? Or did you pay for her wedding and her down payment while Monica got nothing? Nobody answered. That's what I thought. Grandma sat down in her favorite chair. And let me tell you something else. I still have plenty of property and assets left. I could very easily remove certain people from my will completely. People who think it's okay to humiliate and hurt others. You could have heard a pin drop. Mom, Dad, and Rebecca all looked terrified. I'll be watching all of you very carefully from now on. And I can change that will anytime I want. Rebecca was crying harder now. This isn't fair, this isn't fair. You know what's not fair? I said, speaking up for the first time. Getting texts calling me selfish and manipulative. Having Rebecca call me a bastard. Having you say Grandma lost her mind just because she was kind to me. I pulled out my phone and showed them the screenshots I'd taken. I saved every single message you sent me. Every name you called me, every nasty thing you said about Grandma. Grandma looked at the screenshots and her face got even more stern. Is this how you spoke about me? Saying I lost my mind? Nobody answered. Well then, I think my decision about the will just became even easier. After that, nobody said much. Mom, Dad, Rebecca, and Mark just sat there looking shocked and scared. Finally, they got up and left without saying goodbye. Grandma and I sat in her living room for another hour, just talking. The next week, I went to the bank and deposited the check. My mortgage payment went from $1,500 a month to $300. I could finally breathe. I also drove out to the lake house for the first time in years. It was even more beautiful than I remembered. The first thing I did was change all the locks, because I knew my parents and Rebecca had keys and I didn't want any surprise visits. A few weeks later, Mom called and invited me to dinner. She said she wanted to make peace and be a close family again. I laughed. We were never a close family, Mom. You're just scared that Grandma's going to cut you out of her will. That's not true, she said, but I could hear the lie in her voice. I'm not interested in fake family dinners. You made your choice when you ditched my housewarming party. I hung up and blocked their numbers. These days, I talk to Grandma every week. We have dinner together, we visit the lake house together, and she tells me stories about the family I never knew. She's the only family I need. My parents and Rebecca? They can keep their fancy restaurant dinners. I'm done waiting for their approval, and I'm definitely done letting them hurt me. My apartment is beautiful, my lake house is gorgeous, and my mortgage is almost paid off. I did all of this myself, and I'm proud of what I've accomplished. Sometimes the best family is the one that actually shows up for you. For me, that's Grandma Rose. As for the rest of them? That's their loss, not mine.